Welcome to the WearebePodcast, ladies. Today I have an amazing, just radiant soul, Miss Callaghan. She is a serial entrepreneur, an international beauty mentor, motivational speaker, podcast host to Wake Up to Level Up, and the creator of the Spray Tan Class Academy. She helps women in business level up in mindset and marketing so they can create a dream business and life. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
girl,
it.
I feel the power. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun. Podcast interviews are seriously my favorite thing just because we get to connect with so many beautiful women out there. So I'm super excited to get to know your audience.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your background. And I know on your podcast, if you want the full details, you could go listen to her first episode. She goes into her story and whatnot. But tell our listeners your background, where you came from, how you got into beauty, and how that kind of translated into your path and purpose of a beauty business coach.
Yeah, it's been such an interesting twist and turn of events, and something that I really had, I guess, the intention when I was younger. I just didn't know how it was all going to, look, or how it was all going to happen. And so I actually was born in LA, and I grew up knowing that I was going to be an entrepreneur somehow, some way. I knew I always wanted to own my own business. And I ended up going into corporate life and, starting to make six figures, and the money was great, but it was really eating at my soul. And so I went traveling for a couple of years and realized, this is not what I want to do. And I had just a couple of grand in my bank account and decided to invest in a mobile tanning business. So I started doing mobile tanning, and I realized, I really love this whole kind of hustle and bustle and trying to figure things out and just being free from anybody else telling me what to do. And so I decided to continue growing that business. And a couple of months later, I saw a huge need to have a really good spray tan training program that not only encompassed the spray tan technique, but also encompassed how to start a business, how to market operations. There was nothing like that existed at that time. And so I felt the need, I went to school, got my Estes license because I wanted to become the best spray tan trainer possible and learn about skin. And it ended up, manifesting into this crazy whole international beauty business, beauty mentoring. I ended up having a salon, which I still have. It's called Slay Beauty Bar in San Diego. And now I mentor girls all over the world to help them grow and expand, not only in their business, but in their life, because I truly am a huge believer that you can learn the technique of anything, whether it's makeup, hair, whatever. But if you don't know how to cultivate a really good mindset around that and how to market your business, you are not going to get as far as you probably would like. And so with that, it's been about 5 years since I've been in the business. It's grown into a multi-six-figure business. And now I'm on stages helping women, grow their spray tanning businesses and just business in general. We started the Wake Up to Level Up event, which started in May of 2019, which helps women learn how to level up in their mindset and marketing. And it really doesn't have anything to do with beauty in specifically, but it really could help any woman in business. And so that's where my heart's at right now. And I'm super excited that it kind of just morphed into that.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You're so powerful. I feel like it's so cool that we can be connected by the internet. I literally found you on Instagram. I was like, dude, this girl's my soul sister. We gotta connect. I love everything you're doing, and you have a very unique approach. And more people are starting to fully embody and realize that you can't really compartmentalize your life. You can't compartmentalize your business. And you have this approach that's just full embodiment of owning who you are, owning your space, and radiating that out. And so what is it how did you incorporate that perspective into your business? Because I know that so many people have a one-track mind, but it's not all about, just like you said, learning a technique or learning how to run, a P&L with your business, or, knowing your numbers. There's so much more that goes into that. So how did you kind of bring those two together?
So it's really funny because ever since I was younger, I remember getting a bunch of books, and all of the books that I had were personal development books. That's all I ever read. That's all I still read. And it's one of those things that I feel like came naturally to me. And when I started reading more about the law of attraction when I was around 2021, I realized how powerful we are. We're powerful creators, all of us. And it's just a matter of intention and belief and actually putting the inspired action behind whatever it is that you want to do. And so there's many leaps of faith that I have taken in my life, from moving to Hawaii, just selling everything and going there, and, diving into business, and taking risks that have led me into beautiful, beautiful spaces in my life. And so that came a little bit naturally to me. And I feel like with this and just business in general, it was something that I knew needed to be talked about more, because I feel like you said, we kind of just put ourselves in this box and we try to do, step 1, step 2, step 3, but there's quantum leaps that we can do. There's so many huge shifts that we can do if we just understand how to believe in ourselves. And so I think that even from the very beginning, when I first started spray tan training, I realized that that in itself was a huge leap, because I wasn't in the business for 15 years like some of these women, but I knew that I had something special about the way that I was approaching things, because I was moving faster than them. I was gaining more momentum, and not to say that in a negative way, but it's the truth. And so when I was helping the girls that I was helping learn how to spray tan, I also just naturally implemented the fact that they needed to believe in themselves. They needed to keep on going. They needed to continue, to move forward in a way that was going to allow them to break through their limiting beliefs and self-doubt and those fears, and just continue going, no matter what he, she, it, or they say, because a lot of us have all of these, imposed things from everybody else. You can't do this or you can't do that. And it's like, screw everybody else, really believe in what you can do and have that in the forefront of your mind and keep on going. And so I think it just came naturally. And I love the fact that I've always been like that since I was, younger, just cultivating that positive mindset and trying to understand that a lot of the stuff that we have, the limiting beliefs, the fears, the doubts, they aren't real. So if we can get through that, and if we can acknowledge that, we can literally do anything that we want. So it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that, because I think that not only being women, but being in beauty, we have this amazing eye to be perfectionists. And there's so many people that don't step into their power, don't step into the next thing that's calling to them because of self-doubt, because they don't believe they're ready, and they're just getting ready to get ready, and they're waiting for the perfect time. And when perfect things align, girl, this shit is messy. Business is messy. More than anybody. So get out of your own way and get going. And you will fall on your face and you will mess up, but you just get up and you learn from it. I was listening to a podcast a couple days ago, and it was a guy being interviewed on Oprah's podcast, and he said, success doesn't teach you anything. If that's not powerful enough, if that's not where you realize, there's nothing to be afraid of because you're going to fail anyways, you might as well step into it.
Totally.
Do it.
Love it. You just got to jump in.
What are some things that you've had to overcome in your entrepreneurial journey? Because I know that some people look at you and they put you on this pedestal, which you've done it, girl. You're doing it. And I know that there's 10 times more and more things you're going to be doing in the next years of your life. But what are some things that you've had to overcome within yourself to kind of humanize you to the audience?
Oh man, so many things. But the latest thing and the most scary thing that I've ever done was the Wake Up to Level Up event, which was May 2019. And it was something that I wanted to do for a very long time. But, I got kicked in the ass last year. I went through a separation and really went through a deep depression and was drinking and all of these things for quite a while there. And so finally decided I need to get my ass up and get into gear. And so when I did that, this whole epiphany of wake up to level up, wake up to level up, wake up to level up came through a meditation. And that's when I started the podcast. And then I was like, you know what? I need to bring all these women together because I have a Facebook group, Beauty Business Babes. I have all of these ways to connect women together, and we all just need to be in the same room. And so when I put this event together, I initially wanted 200 women there. I wanted, women from all over the world. And thankfully, we sold out all the seats. But before that, and we actually sold it out on the first day of the event, which is crazy. We had girls from the UK, Canada, all over the US come. But really, like, it was the most scary, crazy, up and down roller coaster of emotions because I wanted this thing to be freaking phenomenal and perfect in every which way. And it was seriously every single day, me waking up to anxiety, waking up to, you're not good enough. Who are you to do this? How are you going to do this? And peeling back the layers, it was a huge investment for me. It was over, 20 grand of investing into making this creation that was in my mind come to fruition. And I'm shaking right now because I'm going back into that space of like all of the anxiety of, the speakers being involved. Who's going to actually come here? How are the swag bags going to get filled, and who are the sponsors going to be? What is the timing of the event? For the entire 5.5 months, I was trying to do everything by myself, and I did everything by myself up until that last 2 weeks or so, where I finally met this girl, and she's a PR agent, and I just hired her right away. I was like, I need your help. And so she came on board. She helped me out. Everything came together so beautifully, but all of those limiting beliefs really started to pop up, and to the point where I was literally in bed for a while because it was so exhausting and so mentally draining and so many things that I had to break through. And it was so good though, because once I was able to identify these limiting beliefs, like, Kelly, you're not good enough. Where is this coming from? This is not me saying it to myself. Where is it coming from? It's from, childhood trauma. It's from other things that were happening in my past. It's from all the shit that I went through last year. It's from all of these things that are imposed thoughts that are from other people and experiences that I've had, but those aren't truly me. That's just ego. So letting go of the ego, letting go of that fear, and understanding that I can do anything that I want, that I have to make this, happen in a very easy, fluid manner in order for it to come off authentically and to be authentic in it as well, and for it to be more fun for me. And so once I was able to kind of identify why those fears were coming up, and then switch and pivot into this notion of, have fun, Kelly, have fun while creating this, and enjoy the process and enjoy the journey, and stop worrying about the end all result, because whatever happens is going to happen regardless. But while you're doing everything that you're doing, enjoy the freaking process. And that's when things started to kind of magically come together so beautifully and perfectly. And honestly, the whole event, mind blowing. I blew my own damn mind. I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe it's happening. But we had so many transformative things happen through the event, at the event. Girls like breaking up with boyfriends at the event because they realize and sharing this with everybody, it was seriously transformative. I have so many testimonials on camera and just written that were sent to me. And I'm so grateful for everything, because I truly feel like this was everything that I was meant to do on this planet. So yeah, super exciting.
I've literally got the chills like 6 times listening
So
to you, because I remember you invited us. We weren't able to come out, but I saw the video. And if you guys haven't seen the video, where can they find the video to this?
So it's all on my Instagram at @I am_Kelly Ann.
So go check it out, guys. It's amazing. I'm so excited for the next one. You have another one coming, right?
Yeah, March 2020. We set the date and everything. We got pre-orders done. The tickets are on sale now. We're 25% sold out. Yeah, so good.
Oh
So
my
damn good.
gosh. I'm so proud of you. That's so amazing.
Thank
And
you.
to be able to create the space and hold the space and do all that you did, like, I mean, it's just like phenomenal to hear how it went. And there's such a need for that because in this industry, you know, being in the beauty industry, we're in a superficial industry, but we're in one of the deepest industries because we have the ability to step into our healing power. We're touching people, we're with people, we're with other women. But paradoxically, that creates the people that are in the scarcity mindset, the fear, I'm not good enough, like the comparing yourself, the cattiness, and to be able to really create space for women to come together is so special and such a need. And that's what we're trying to do too with the online aspect of helping women create their own online courses and empowering them, because it's not about you being this big leader. You're stepping into it first, and then you're looking back and grabbing their hand and saying, you can do this too.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
It's great because, one of the topics that I talked about at the event, and I talked a lot at the event, but like, one of the topics that kept on coming up was build your own stage. Build your own stage. And my dream as a little girl was to be an actress, an entertainer, or whatever. And so it manifested into this. That's why I was wearing all the fun outfits. And I just really stepped into it because I felt just naturally pulled to do that. And it wasn't supposed to be this big fashion show. I actually got the outfits the day of the first day that Wulu started. And so I waited till last minute, but it all came, together beautifully. But my whole message was to build your own stage. And when I say that, I don't mean literally go and build your own stage. I mean, whatever your stage is, whatever your dream is, whatever it is that you want to do, build that. And I'm living proof right now. I'm stepping on my stage. I'm stepping on this platform that I've created for myself to help other women understand that they can also do it.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's great.
So, going kind of into, before the Wulu event, you've been educating. You're a beauty mentor for women. You have this amazing Spray Tan Academy with a Facebook for the beauty babes of like 5,000 people. Like, you're killing it, girl. So tell us more about your courses. How did you decide to go online with that?
Yeah, so that's a really good idea or a question. And also, one thing I want to say that you had mentioned earlier is it was messy. It was super messy, and it's still not perfect. And it's something that we're actually in the process of rebranding everything and trying to get it to perfection, or as close to, because I don't believe in perfection, but as close to perfection, because the thing is that I personally, I can't be everywhere. I can't train everybody at all times. I can't be in Las Vegas and New York and Canada and UK and Saudi Arabia and all these places that the women who want to learn how to spray tan are. And so I had this idea to take the course online. I started off just doing group trainings and private trainings in person. I quickly realized, these girls are all over the place and I can't get to them. They can't get to me sometimes. And so what I decided to do was take that course material, implement it into a PDF version of something that I would be able to sell online. And that's what I did. I started creating videos, started doing step-by-step tutorials that were exclusive to our students who were purchasing the course online. And that actually went pretty well. It was slow for the first year or so. And then I realized this is where I want to be. I want to be in the online space because I'm not trading my time for money anymore. This is something that can just kind of flow on its own. And so now I have the ability to travel to Australia, to Amsterdam, to New York, or wherever it is that I want to go. And that's truly one of my biggest passions, is traveling. And so with that, the online courses have given me the ability to do that. And I'm so incredibly grateful. I'm actually in the process of doing an eyelash extension. Sorry, can you see me?
You just kind of froze up.
Okay, hold on. Sorry.
There we go. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually in the process of doing an online training course for eyelash extensions as well. And I just feel like with all the online marketing courses that I have and all of the online things that I'm doing, it's allowed me to free up time to truly create the life that I want. So it's been great.
I love that. Duplicating your efforts, reaching more people. I mean, the people that you've reached that aren't, in California or in the close by states, you're all around the world. And that's the beauty of going online. I know a lot of women, when I watched, because my first courses were eyelash extension courses, and that's how we grew to this platform.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember people literally telling me, you shouldn't do that. That's like the people that are stuck in the box, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny is people think that you can't support someone like you do an in-person training online, but it's actually, I've realized the opposite. Because I'm like, you get support, you go through the course, you can go back, you can access the materials at any time. You can have the online community. And I feel like it's connected women more than even the people that have taken my in-person trainings, which is really cool. And you can just, it doesn't stop there. I'm thinking of like all these other things I want to do once you do it once, but that was some hard shit. That was, I mean, being honest, how hard it takes or how much effort it takes to bring into fruition your first course, your first training. But then you become like proficient and you learn more and you get better and you do it. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I am all now in my life right now because I feel like I've done the time. I've done like the working in the salon and trading time for money, and I have now realized that that's not a fulfilled life for me. And everyone's different. So, whoever wants to work at the salon, totally fine. That's great. But for me, I want to work on the salon. I want to work on creating a more sustainable, more fluid, sorry about that, something that is, able to work on its own rather than me having to be there all the time. And so I'm so grateful for the online space. I'm so grateful for connections on social media. I'm so grateful for it all because without that, I truly wouldn't be able to tap into my creativity fully and be able to serve the girls that I serve. So it's so beautiful. I love it. So
it's so amazing. And you created such an amazing tribe of women. Like, could you go into your Facebook group a little bit more? Because I love that group and like the inspiration, motivation you put out in there. And like, you can just see the community in this group. Like when I went to it and I was just like, wow, like this is powerful. And what you've created is so amazing. So, and there's 5,000 women in there, like, woo woo.
Yeah, right. It's been insane. So I started actually the group probably 3 or 4 years ago. So it didn't blow up overnight. I'm still actually surprised that we're only at 5,000. I think we should have a lot more considering it's all beauty business babes, right? So I would love to see more microbladers in there, lash artists, estheticians, cosmetologists. But essentially what we've created is a group online on Facebook called Beauty Business Babes, where we are all about positivity. That is like the number one rule is you got to be positive. If there's any cattiness, any shit going on, you're out without questions. I don't have time to babysit people and say, no, Jody, you're not supposed to speak to people like that. It's like, we all respect each other. We all respect each other. Let's lift each other up. I mean, I still see it from time to time where it's like, that's not such a nice way to say something, or please leave your opinion out of this if you have nothing nice to say. And it's just one of those things where for me personally, I feel like energy is so important to me. So if I feel like it's like the same person over and over again, like I said, we just kind of remove them from the group. We just don't have time or energy for it. We have 3 amazing admins kind of overlooking everything, but essentially it's there for women. It's free, it's a free community for women to go in there to learn how to grow their business. And we do that through mindset, through marketing, through tips and tricks on specific techniques like spray tanning, eyelashes. And it's just a great way to meet your business besties, and to have that community and support when you need it.
Oh, that's amazing. So go check it out. It's Beauty Business Babes on Facebook, the BBB group.
Yes.
And if you can't find it, we'll put it in the link. So if you're watching YouTube, it'll be in the link below. And then we'll also put it in the podcast description when we launch.
Awesome.
So check it out.
Awesome.
So this is kind of like going into, you mentioned you do marketing tips in this group. You help women grow their business. There's a very energetic, full embodied mindset that you have to have, but there is practical tips and practical steps you do have to take, to take action and to continue to grow. So what are some of like your best marketing tips for people, whether they're just starting a business or whether they have come up, maybe they have a creative block, maybe they don't know what to do and they're not getting the results that they want and they're trying to market online for their business, whether it's get clients, whether it's to reach their audience. What are some practical tips you can share with these guys?
Absolutely. So the number one thing that I would say, and this is after years of trying to do everything on my own for so freaking long. I've tried to do everything on my own because I was being cheap and I didn't want to invest and I didn't want help and all these things. I was just trying to learn everything on my own because I was brand new into the industry. But what I realized is that hiring out is actually going to get you further faster. So what I mean by that is if you're trying to start marketing and you have absolutely no idea what to do and you are just like, you know what, I'm not there. I don't want to do this right now. If you're feeling those, but deep down inside you have to do it, or you're just, stagnant, you're not moving, you're not growing, you're not getting any clients, you need to hire someone. You have to hire someone. You have to go out there and find someone to either mentor you. You have to take a training program to learn how to do something, or you need to hire someone to do it for you because it's not going to grow on its own. And I feel like a lot of people have that misconception of, oh, I started a business, so now it's going to be all, unicorns and rainbows and easy from here. Our clients are going to come running through my door. That's not the case. What you have to do is learn how to market your business. And it actually, what I've learned is that it changes depending on geographically speaking where you're at. So for our smaller cities, if you're in a smaller city listening to this, highly recommend getting out there, meeting face to face with people. The word of mouth, concept and word of mouth marketing is going to be so essential to your growth when you're in a smaller space like that, because everybody talks to everybody. Whereas if you're in a bigger space, a bigger city like New York, San Diego, LA, Miami, you're going to want to work online mainly. I would always recommend doing the in-person networking and stuff like that, but work online. I think the biggest things that I've seen in the growth of my own business is getting on Yelp, getting on Google My Business, having people review on Yelp and Google My Business, and also doing Instagram. Instagram has been one of the best things for our business because our ideal client is there. And when I say your ideal client, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of this, but basically getting really specific as far as like the age demographic, where your client's working, where they play, all of this stuff, and really having a good idea of where they hang out. And a lot of the times that's Instagram for us. So by being able to implement some of the strategies that I've learned over the years in terms of finding where those clients are on Instagram, engaging with them, although it takes a lot of time, engaging with them and understanding how to approach them in a way that's authentic and real and fun. So that way they can engage back with you by following you, commenting, liking your posts, and that sort of thing. Those are things that, I talk about on my YouTube channel, Kelly Callaghan, or even in the Beauty Business Babes group. I go into detail about it, but I think that identifying where your ideal client is and actually making the moves to be there so that way you can engage authentically, not too salesy, but just authentically. Because when you have a conversation of like, hey, who are you? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. You naturally get into that conversation of what do you do for a living? So when you could say, hey, I do spray tans or eyelashes, a lot of the times those just organic, authentic conversations just flow and you will find yourself feeling better about it because you're not feeling so salesy, but also just getting more clients that way because it's just you. It's not this salesperson,
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so that and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say you have to put yourself out there and be you.
You do. And, I would say the last thing that I would focus on is when you get clients in, I feel like a lot of us, we tend to just focus on the new client and getting that new client in, but it actually costs us about 4 times more to get that new client in as opposed to getting that return client coming back to you. So if you can create a good business model around packages, memberships, referrals, credits, or a stamp card or something like that to keep them loyal and to keep them coming to you, that is going to be so beneficial for you long term, because at this point at Slay Beauty Bar, we have more than half of our clients are return clients. And it's because we really focus on them and creating a great experience for them.
That's amazing. And so what would you say is like your point of difference in your business that keeps people loyal and coming to you, and why you're different than others around?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's two different things. One, we focus on being authentic. So everything that I do, I'm not perfect. When I do these podcast interviews, I never, try to sit there and write out a script or anything like that, or, whatever it is that I do, I come off so naturally because it is natural. It's not me trying to fake the funk. The way that I talk to you is the way that I talk to my friends. So that's number one. And that's the way that I feel about my clients too, is I want to get to know them. If we're going to be in each other's lives, we might as well get to know each other a little bit better than just like, hi, this is a business transaction. It's not, it's a friend transaction, although there's money involved in a service exchange, but it's my friend and it's somebody that I care about and I want to get to know them. And so I've, really opened up really crazy conversations with my clients on a personal level. And so I think that is what keeps them coming back. And I taught my girls to kind of do the same, whatever they're comfortable with as far as opening up and sharing with the clients. That's totally fine. And how they want to approach that is unique to each individual because we're all different. But I think essentially just being yourself, thinking of this person, our client, as a friend rather than somebody who is just a client or somebody that's a stranger. And then apart from that, the second thing is really going above and beyond to make sure that whatever service that we are doing, whether it's spray tans, eyelashes, and this goes for my training too, anything that I'm doing that is an exchange of money for a service or product, how can we be better? Is my primary question. How can we be better? How can we do this to the best of our ability without nickel and diming everything and just putting everything in a higher end package? So it's just one price at X amount of money and we serve them in the best way possible. So we're not sitting there trying to nickel and dime, because I see that happening a lot and I think it's just weird. It's like, just higher your price, raise your price, and those types of clients that want that luxury service are going to come to you.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. And I think that what you said is so important, being authentic with clients, because people can feel if you genuinely care. And if you can't get to the point about genuinely caring, you won't be in business, or you're going to be miserable. And I think so many people that are maybe earlier on their journey of discovering who they are and being comfortable in their own skin may struggle with that. But the only way through it, to the other side, is through it.
Yeah.
You just have to practice being you. It sounds silly, but we have so many masks and so many signals from society and parents and all of the programming, and we forget, or we have to remember how to be ourselves. It sounds so silly, but you have to practice at it.
I love that you said that. And it's so, so true. And, I will say, just as an example, I think the reason why, and I keep on bringing the Wake Up to Level Up event because, like I said, it was seriously the scariest shit that I've ever done in my life. But being on stage, I made fun of myself. I was like, you know what? You guys are all here, and I sound like Kim Kardashian because I use the word like a lot and so a lot. And I'm not perfect. I don't have a speaking coach. I don't have anyone to tell me how to act or be robotic or anything like that. This is all me. I'm giving you everything that I've got, and this is all me. And so I really feel like when you can just be yourself, just breathe for a second and step into that person of just being relaxed, being cool, being calm, being collective, but just being whoever it is that you truly are. People resonate with that and can relate to that so much better. And when you are relatable, you're likable. And I just don't know how to live my life any other way anymore, because I do know those masks that you were talking about. I have lived that life before because I didn't realize that I was even doing it. But the first step to change is awareness. And once I was aware of how exhausted I was feeling and how not in alignment I was feeling as well, it shifted me into wanting to be more of myself and coming from a place of just being me. And if people don't like me, that's going to happen. That's totally fine. You have to be okay with people not liking you. And I think when you think too hard about, oh, this person won't like me if I do this or whatever, you're not being authentic to yourself. And no matter how perfect you are or how much you prime yourself to be a certain way, people are not going to like you. And I'm okay with that. And you have to be okay with that too, in order for you to be able to be authentic and grow.
For sure. Thank you so much for saying that. And I think too, something that kind of sparked in me when you said that, there's so many people, maybe none of this is even making sense to you because you're like, what do you mean learn to love myself? Like, what do you mean? Like the ones that haven't resonated with that message yet. I think the best advice that I got was like in this aspect was paying attention to the feedback in my relationships and the feedback that I'm getting from like if you keep going through the same experience with friends, with clients, and you keep losing friends, you keep losing, or there's some friction or you guys have a falling out and it's like this repeating pattern, then it's time to look in the mirror. Like, pay attention to the patterns, pay attention to the feedback in your life, because so many people don't even know what self-awareness is, but it is bringing, like, stepping back and taking a look at your life, taking a look at how you're showing up and how that's making you feel. Because that, like, I resonate with what you said, like feeling like stressed out, like, is this person going to like me, or are they not going to, like, who cares?
Yeah.
But, like, are you ready to be free? Because that's what we need to be talking about. So, like, let that shit go. But you have to look at it, and it can be painful. So many people don't want to, because they're like, oh my gosh, if I look at this, then that means I have to accept it. But once you accept it, then you can truly start the journey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And it's so liberating, right? It's so freeing. And, I'm not 100% there yet. And I don't think I'll ever be. I feel like I'm always going to be growing. I'm always going to be learning. And that's okay. I feel like I'm in a very good space right now, and I'm very self-aware, but peeling back the layers day by day, hour by hour, all the time. And, being who I am now without the worry of who will like me or who won't has allowed me to tap into my creativity and allowed me to live a more happy and fulfilled life. And I think that anyone will feel that once they let go of the perfectionism or trying to be who they aren't because they want he, she, it, or they to like you. But realize that, your tribe is going to find you, and they're going to hold on to you tight when you do find that you are being authentic and true to yourself.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, too, like what you said about, you said something earlier, and it came and then it was gone. So it'll come back. It'll come back if it's meant to be. But something I'm curious about is, obviously I can tell you're very authentic and empowered in who you are, and stepping into that and just sharing that with the world and sharing your gifts, and like just your energy alone is going to impact so many people that are going to be listening to this and seeing you. But what are some of your values? Like, what are some values that you live by and you incorporate into your business? Because to operate from those spaces is what I think actually helps you be consistent and know, am I going to decide this or this, because you have the value. Like, if you don't have values, then you're kind of all over the place.
Totally. That is such a really powerful question. And I'm so glad that you asked that, because as we were talking about earlier, I went to Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins, in Australia this last 2 weeks ago. And it was absolutely amazing. And one of the things that we talked about was your coming towards values and then your away values. So what are some of the values that you want to keep coming towards, and what are some of the values that you want to go away from? And the values that I've realized for myself that actually has shifted over the last, I went to Unleash the Power Within at Tony Robbins in LA a couple months ago. And when I went there, the first thing that I thought about was success. I wanted to be successful. That was my value. That was my top value. And when I started really diving in at that event and really understanding what I was doing, I realized that that actually wasn't my true value. My true value was love and connection. And so now at this date with Destiny, we had to rewrite our values or just write them in general. And the first thing that popped up was love and connection for me. And so everything that I do is going to be based around love and connection. That's like the nucleus of everything that I do, everything surrounding that, everything I'm doing right now, I have to love, I have to feel connected to, and I have to I want whatever it is that I'm doing to be connected to other women as well. I only work with women. I don't work with men when it comes to, network or mentoring and that sort of thing. And so my main thing right now that I'm doing is mentoring and holding these live events and holding space for women and that sort of thing. So I want everything that I do to be towards love and connecting with other women. And I also have to love and connect it with myself too, because a lot of the times prior to this last year, I was doing a lot of things that were just money based. I was like, oh, I could create this, training really quick and it will just bring me X amount of money. There was love put into it, but it wasn't the forefront of my mind. So now that things have shifted, I feel like putting the love and intention into everything that I'm doing has also shifted how I am, how I show up, how I am creating, how I'm connecting with other people and myself, how I'm connecting to my higher power, and how I'm authentically being able to build a business around what I truly want to do rather than what money wants me to do. So I'm being pulled by passion instead of being pushed by profit, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. I hope you guys are taking notes. How did you come into that purpose? Because I know something has to happen, or realization, or maybe it was like over a course of many events, but how did you know that this is your purpose? Like, I know you said you've always kind of been entrepreneurial, but was there a moment or was there certain things that happened that you were like, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm meant to do?
Well, ever since I was little, I always wanted to be an entertainer of some sorts. And I grew up in LA, so I did a lot of the auditions. I went to scouting calls. I did all kinds of stuff. And it was always just no, 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 or it cost 15 grand to, enroll in our course or whatever it was. And my parents weren't going to pay for that. So I kind of gave up on that dream and I forgot about it. And one of the things that I talked about at the Wake Up to Level Up event was remembering who you are today, bringing back that child, in you, because it's in us all. And I think that once I stepped on stage, no joke, the moment that foot stepped on stage and I looked out at everybody and I had the microphone in my hand, that's when I knew with all of my heart, soul, everything, that is what I was meant to do. I was meant to, and I'm going to get very emotional right now because it's crazy how you just know when you're there, you're like, this is the most fulfilling, most amazing feeling that I've ever had in my life. And being able to look out in the crowd and see that women from all over the world wanted to better their lives and they trusted in me to be there and to share my story. There was so many great, great things that happened and everything came so fluidly. I had no notes of what I was going to talk about, but everything just connected and everything just came out so fluidly. I cried on stage. I laughed on stage, and everything was just fluid. I was in flow, and that is literally the moment when I knew that this was what I was supposed to be doing, because before that, it was all of the fears. It wasn't really too much of a fun process until I surrendered all the fears, all the limiting beliefs, all the doubts. It wasn't a fun process. It was very, very fearful. I wanted to run away so many times or just cancel the event. I was so scared and it wasn't fun until I really had a deep talk with myself. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to do this, you have to at least make it fun. You can't just work your ass off and not have fun through the process, because you're never going to want to do it again. So once I was able to come to terms with that and let go of all of the fears and the shit that, was coming up, I was able to have more fun and still realizing that those fears are still going to come up, but being able to dismiss them sooner than later and being able to pivot those thoughts. And once I was able to do that, it wasn't until I stepped on stage that I realized like this is what I'm meant to do. So I'm meant to be on stages. I'm meant to share my voice. I'm meant to empower other women, to allow them to know that they can do anything that they want, whether it's building a stage, building an audience, modeling, acting, I don't know, whatever it is that they want, whatever their dreams are. It's just about peeling back those layers, getting through the fear and not suppressing the fear, but getting through the fear and understanding that whenever you're going into this unknown space, that fear is always going to pop up, but use it as a tool to motivate you and understand that it's all make believe. The fear is all make believe. It's a made up story that we have in our head. And once we're able to identify that, we're seriously limitless. We can do anything.
Oh, you're so powerful. I'm like just sitting here, like I feel like I'm ready to take on the world.
Yes, girl, you are.
Thank you so much for that, and being vulnerable and sharing that. I think is so empowering to hear someone that's in the same industry that has the same passion that I do. Like, I love speaking. I've done that, and we have the podcast. Like, we have so many similarities. I'm just so grateful to be connected with you. And something you mentioned that is actually what I forgot about earlier that I wanted to talk about was bringing your inner child and back into the picture and having fun. And I think that there's like times and places to ebb and flow with different aspects of yourself, like taking action. Like, you have to get to where you have been, even though you've fully embodied and you've brought in mindfulness and your higher power and intention, like you still had to take massive action. Like we have to take massive action, but then there's also the paradox in which we live where you have to fully surrender if you want to like feel fulfilled. Because I've just been working, and I'm like, shit, I need to have some fun. Like, I don't need to go out and like get drunk and party, but I need to bring my inner child in, whether that's dancing, whether that's just like being joking and bringing humor and light to the situation. So like, if you're at a point in your business and you're feeling stuck and you're like, I can't do this, I want to quit, I'm trying everything, and you're just like with the axe, like let it go and like shake your booty for a minute, like do something.
Oh my God.
Like,
so good.
What are some things that help you, that you do that really bring your inner child out, that make it fun?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I'm so glad that you asked that too, because I feel like I haven't tapped into my inner child until Wulu, until like right before that. And it consisted of dance parties. So if you guys watch my Instagram stories and stuff, I usually do my little dance parties. I even have like the little highlight that says dance parties on there, because I'm all about getting up, moving your body. Getting up and moving your body and being able to kind of have fun, like put your favorite jam on, go outside, get some sunlight on you, go inside, play with your dogs, like whatever, just get your body moving. And like, once you're fluid like that in your body, you're able to just let go of any like, tension, or let go of that staleness in your body. And once you're able to do that, my creativity just like shoots off the roof. And also my energy is so much better. So that's one way. Another way is doing vision boards. I think vision boards is a type of creativity that really brings me back to my childhood, because I feel like, arts and crafts and that sort of thing. So being able to create a vision for myself of what I want in the future. And it's insane because a lot of my vision boards, I'll take pictures of them before I toss them out, because I do them all the time. And I'll go back and look at them. And it's insane how these vision boards come to life, and not even necessarily intentionally. I'll put them like, actually, all of these things that you see right here are vision boards. And so I'll put them somewhere I can see every single day, but I don't sit there and take a look at it every single day. So I think subconsciously it's just like there, and I know what it is. And so it brings me closer to that goal. But that's another way to kind of, raise your vibration, or to try to manifest a little bit of what you want going forward, and bringing that inner child out, because it's fun. It's not stressful. It should be fun anyway.
Heck yeah. I love that. And I think too, when you mentioned the vision boards, so many people like play small when they're creating vision boards. Like, I know people that are like, I'm going to go on a trip to California. It's like, that's cool if you want to do that. But like,
Yeah.
what do you really want to do? Like, don't pre-qualify yourself to these visions. I mean, obviously the process of letting go of the unworthiness has to come into play, like recognizing maybe I don't feel worthy of that, so I'm not going to put it on my board because it scares the hell out of me. But
Yeah.
like, you're going to have to let go of that, but really allow yourself that space when you're creating these vision boards to say, I want to put this on here and let go and see what happens. I mean, if you do that and create an amazing vision board and then you go party every weekend and you're not working towards your goals and you're not facing your fears, like it's not just going to like appear out of nowhere.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's
there has to be some
cool.
inspired action. It is. It's
It's
so
so cool.
fun. And one of the things that I love to do too is, visualizations and really stepping into that role of who you want to be and feeling that person now. So the whole manifestation thing is so incredibly important for me in my life, because when I'm there energetically speaking through visualizing who I want to be, it is who I become, because now I had this standard set for myself and I'm realizing like, oh, my potential is a lot higher than what I'm playing right now. And so being able to step into that role and have fun with it and dream big, if you asked me 1 year ago if Wulu would have happened, that the live event, there's no way in hell. Like that wasn't going to happen. But I don't know what happened in October. And I was like, you know what, this is happening. And being able to visualize that every single day of my life and how that was going to be and how that was going to show up and how I was going to show up and how everything was just going to be super fluid and fun and exciting. And it's going to be, transformative for these women who are involved was my main concern. And it all happened. And I believe it was, happening that way because of visualizations and really putting the inspired action behind all of that.
That's amazing. So people that are listening may not really know what, some may not know what it means to do like a visualizing session. So could you kind of like explain more what visualization means and how you can start doing that?
Absolutely. So you can do this anywhere. It's free. Do it anywhere. It's great. So no excuses, right? And I would say be open-minded to it and give it at least a month before you give up. Because I promise you, the craziest thing that you could do is start it just doing it for a day and saying like, this is not for me. Do it just for 5 minutes every single day. Start off with 5 minutes. And then I actually do it for a long time with my meditations every day. I wake up and before I get out of bed, I will sit there, and actually right before bed too, I'll sit there and I'll close my eyes. I'll focus on my breath. I'll take in a couple of deep breaths and relax. Once I'm relaxed, I'll think of, it's kind of like a movie playing in your head. I'll think of whatever it is that I want to happen. So whatever dream life I'm trying to create for myself. So for example, for me right now, a lot of it is where I want to live, right? What do the sheets look like in my bed? What does the house look like that I'm living in? Who am I around? Who is surrounded by me? How do I feel? Do I feel loved? Do I feel secure? How am I feeling in terms of finances? How much money am I making? I'm thinking about like all of these things very, very specifically. So usually it takes me like a good 15, 20 minutes, honestly, because it's so damn specific and I love doing it. But when you do it right, and you'll know when you're doing it right, is when you are visualizing yourself and bringing in the senses as much as you can, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're hearing, what you're tasting, whatever, all of the senses, just bringing them in and bringing them into your vision and experiencing it as if it's happening right now, you will start feeling a shift in your body. And it's different for everybody, but for me personally, I start feeling almost like a tingling numbness throughout my body. Or sometimes, a lot of the times, I'll start twitching in certain areas. And I feel like it's just the energy kind of like, maybe stuck energy or something just kind of trying to flow through my body, because anytime I'm meditating or doing my visualizations, this happens. Or maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know, but I hear this happens to a lot of people, so I can't be the only crazy one. And so being able to really be specific about really how you're feeling, I think, is the main thing, and putting that energy in there in your mind as if it's happening right at this moment. Super important, because you can visualize all you want, but if you're not feeling it, it's not going to work.
Dang, I'm excited. I write out intentions and meditate, but now I'm going to create like a whole visualization and I'm going to start doing that. And I love it.
Girl, life-changing. I'm telling you, life-changing.
Thank you so much for that. So what would you say your message is to the world?
That's a very good question. I would say, and I don't want to sound cliche because I feel like everybody probably says this already, or a lot of people do, but I would say that no matter who you are, where you're from, how you grew up, what bullshit limiting beliefs you have, what fears you have, what doubts you have, no matter who you are, or who you feel like you are, you can change that person at any time today. And you can truly, truly, truly 100%, I'm living proof, you can live the life of your dreams. And I think that what stops us from truly living to our true potential is the fear, the lack of action, the limiting beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money. Whenever you have this goal in your mind, whenever you have this intention in your heart and in your soul, and you know that you're meant to do it, you have to do it. You cannot let anyone tell you that you can't. The only limiting belief that you have is the one that you create for yourself. So you have to get rid of what everybody else thinks, and you have to understand that only you know what's best for you. Whatever you want to do in this lifetime, whatever you're meant to do, whatever your calling is, and you feel pulled to do it by passion and not by profits, you have to do it because the world needs it. And I think that you need to shed all the shit, girl. You need to shed all the shit and just go for it. And do not stop. Don't stop until you actually get to what you want. And with that, guess what? There's more miracles to happen, because once you get to that space of achieving that goal and being super excited about it, there's going to be another level that you're going to want to get to. And it's always going to be scary. The fear is never going to leave you, but learning how to work with the fear and peeling back those layers and moving forward, it gets easier and easier and easier. I promise you. You just have to make the decision and take the inspired action to do it, and don't wait too long.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Mic drop, Callaghan. You're amazing. Yes. I'm so like inspired, and something that you mentioned that I kind of wanted to touch on, and you can go as deep or as like surface as you want. But I think it's really important. Like, we're all human. We've all gone through stuff. We've all gone through trauma. And you may not even know that you've gone through trauma that's created a habit that makes you hide from the world. But I was wondering, if you don't mind sharing, like, where did some of these limiting beliefs come from? Like, or the unworthiness? I know a lot of things could even be energetically from like ancestral trauma or whatever. But have you found anything specific that you could share with us that you recognize that was making you feel unworthy of your desires or being in your power and being yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would say it does stem from childhood. I was abused as a child. And aside from that, I feel like that kind of made my relationships a little bit weird with men. And I think it made me put up this guard to want to protect myself. And it's crazy because ever since then, I feel like there was, my dad kind of not being there. He was great financially. He was a great financial supporter and that sort of thing, but never there emotionally. And neither was my mom really. So I feel like I had to kind of fend for myself a lot of the times, which brought me great strength. So I don't mind it. But also I could see how not having that supportive family unit could really, kind of not ruin someone, but kind of make people not feel as worthy, right? Because I've had all these friends who had great relationships with their parents and all of these things. So it's like, why don't my parents act that way towards me? But I think that ultimately what ended up happening was more strength for me, and me being able to find my way as an independent person rather than relying on anybody. And I think it truly did give me strength. But I would say definitely those are some of the things that happened to me as a child. And then also, going through a divorce last year, we ended up getting an annulment, but going through a really, really traumatic, really crazy separation that happened really out of nowhere. To kind of give you just a little bit of the whole story is on the Wake Up to Level event, by the way, or Wake Up to Level Up podcast. But what it surrounded was the reason why we got separated was because he ended up being a drug addict, and I didn't know. And then he had a child he didn't tell me about, and he went to rehab and cheated on me in rehab. So it was like all of these things, one thing after another after another. And he was one of the people that actually helped me with my business. And he traveled with me to do the trainings for the Slay the Spray tour and all of these things. So we were like this. And so for all of that to happen kind of overnight, it was super traumatic. And it was really, really insane. So going through that, I obviously felt like, why am I not good enough? Why am I not good enough to hold a good relationship? Because a lot of my boyfriends have cheated on me, or a lot of my boyfriends have done X, Y, or Z. And I really do think that it stems from being abused as a child. And then also my dad not being there fully as an emotional, supportive father or husband, and not having a really good role model. But again, through those traumas and through those experiences, being able to step back and say thank you and to forgive and to be able to realize that if it wasn't for all of that shit, I wouldn't be as strong or as beautiful or as empowered or as independent as I am today. And so truly I'm grateful for it all. And I'm still friends with my ex, and I give him a lot of light and love. And same with the person who abused me as a child. It's all these things about forgiveness. You have to be able to forgive whoever it is that did whatever, because all in all, they must have went through some horrible shit themselves in order for them to do something like that to you.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm just thinking of so many similarities. Like I'm 9th out of 10 kids. And so I went through similar, abuse in childhood. And then I've been divorced, and I'm just like, wow, like what came to me just barely is the strength that comes through that. Not just to say I'm strong, I went through that, I'm a martyr. It's because that is what pushed us into our leadership. That's what pushed us into our purpose, because there's people that are waiting to hear your message and waiting to hear from you. And if you didn't go through that, you would never reach those people. And so it's so powerful. And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think there's a lot of people that are like, no one gets me, no one sees me. And it's like, we see you. You can do this too. And it is about letting go of the unworthiness and not playing into that old patterning. Like the past is the past, man. Are you going to be worthy now? Because you are worthy, and you were worthy then. You were worthy then. You were always worthy. It just was, it was a way to protect ourselves and try to reconcile and make sense of something that happened that you couldn't at the time.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
It is. And, it's kind of like fight or flight, right? You go into this maybe traumatic event or experience, and some people will cripple up into a depression, drugs, alcohol, whatever their vice is, or, maybe they'll do that for a little bit like I did. And then eventually you're like, you got to pick yourself up, girl. You got to pick yourself up, because I'm not going to allow this person, place, thing, or whatever to take any more than it has already. And realizing your worth and how powerful you are, and being able to catapult into a better space even than you were before that traumatic event, I think is crucial. And it is possible for anybody. It's just a perception and the way that you are able to think about the situation rather than sulking for too long. And it's okay to dwell. It's okay to have those moments where you're like, dwelling and maybe drinking a bottle of wine like I was and that sort of thing. But at some point you have to realize that you're worth it. Your life is worth it. And you are the creator of your destiny and of your life. And no one is responsible for that other than yourself, meaning no one can take that away from you either unless you allow them to. So you have to step it up.
Thank you so much. You're light. You're such a light. I'm so grateful that you joined us today.
Yes,
Is
this
there
is so
anything else
fun.
that you want to share with or leave our listeners with? Where can they find you? What else do you want to share with these guys today?
Well, I love you all, and I definitely feel like I love connecting with women. So if you guys are interested in reaching out to me, please DM me. Let me know that you heard me on this podcast. I would love to connect with you. Instagram's probably the best way. It's I am _ Kelly Ann, KELLYANN. And aside from that, I do have my Wake Up to Level Up podcast, which helps women with their business and mindset. And I also have a YouTube channel under Kelly Callaghan as well. And lastly, you can find us on the Beauty Business Babes Facebook group, and it's called Beauty Business Babes, of course. And if you guys are interested in coming to the Wake Up to Level Up event, March 2020 in San Diego, wakeuptolevelup.com. And I'll go ahead and create a code for your listeners so they can get a little bit of a discount.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I love
Yeah.
you. I appreciate you. You're amazing.
You're
And
amazing.
reach out to us if you have any questions and check out Kellyanne.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.